What I'm striving for when I do my kata is to really be present to what I am doing. And what I'm doing in kata is fighting against an imaginary opponent. What I really need to work on is not just technique, but intensity, which is the spirit of the kata.
Karate training has influenced many aspects of my life, and perhaps one of them is discipline. The actual discipline of getting to the training place after a hard day's at work and going home and cooking dinner for my son. I'm a single parent. And just getting there, it requires a lot of discipline.
We're just standing. You just haven't heard all the bones crack. Yeah, you're. Ay! 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 Ah, your head. You turned your head too soon. Well, it's just because
I began to develop some self-confidence. I'm able to walk into a boardroom full of businessmen and feel very confident about myself. I feel that I can walk into an elevator, and if a man looks me up and down, I'll just look him back up and down, or sort of take charge of the situation. Before karate, I was always in a reactive situation to a group of punks walking down the street making lewd comments. And now I'll approach that situation and smile, or because of my confidence, I feel that I'm in control rather than always being in a reactive situation.
Well, I find it's a lot better if you do that one count.
Yoi.
Ay. 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 Ay.
I think that everyone goes into a karate class or a self-defense class with a preconceived notion of that, well, in 10 weeks after this course, I'm going to be able to defend myself. And I probably looked at first at a brown belt level, which is you start out as a white belt, and then in most styles you go through yellow, green, brown, and black belt, which everyone thinks is the highest, and it's not. Black belt is actually a beginning, and it's really where you start your learning. Attaining black belt was a feat for me, although once I had achieved that, I was looking towards second degree, and all of a sudden I was a second degree, and then all of a sudden, really unexpectedly, I was asked to grade for my third degree test. And as a result of that, I think it's dawned on me that in karate and out of karate, it extends into your whole life, that you can succeed in any of the goals you place. And you can, without even realizing it, you can surpass them if you don't even think about it. If you don't think, well, this is the end, you have to think about everything continuing.
I know you waited for us. We came up that line because you didn't want me to fall over. I initially started karate training because 14 years ago I was attacked by a rapist who had a knife in a third-floor Ottawa apartment. And for me, the terror was not so much in the rape, but the fact that this man with a knife had total control over my life. He could at that moment have extinguished my life. And I didn't know how to use my arms, my legs, any part of my body. And that was a terrifying place to be, where any man virtually could have control over my life and destiny. And I decided that that would never, ever happen again. Remember, in karate, your first move is always defensive and not offensive. Karate is a defensive art. Okay, so we'll start with rising block to the face and punch. Okay, from Yoi. Ai! Ai! Up. Ai! Punch. And up. Once again. Ai! Ai! I sense that women are really uncomfortable, particularly about their bodies, when it comes to something very forceful and disciplined like karate. One more. Ai! So that they're quite often intimidated training alongside a lot of men. Nice angle here, not your elbow up. Good angle here, okay? Aye. So that's one of the reasons why I started an all-women's karate club. Ilana, your elbow down. Aye. And up. So your kiai's got to come from here. Ah! Right from here. And everything tenses at that moment of kiai. So it's that very, very focal point and all of your energy. So I want you to work on that a little bit. So every time I count, I want you to do a kiai. And focus again on it coming from here, not here, up here, but from here. So think about it coming from your gut, okay? I'll just count and just stay in your natural position and just do your kiai, okay? Louder, more from here. Most women are really sort of scared about their own voice, and they put out this little squeak, and the kiai comes from their throat rather than coming from the gut. It's open only a little bit. You're just going to get a small sound. So from here. Bring it down lower. Okay. Oh, too far up. Come on. Yeah, come on. The kiai for me is all of my energies, all of my strength, all of my focus coming into a focal point. So that at the moment of my punch, or the exact moment of my block or my kick, I do this yell, which is not really so much to scare necessarily the opponent, but it's, here is everything that I am, 100%. At this moment, at the end of my, everything is here. I'm here, and this is me.
I think women have a problem with learning to fight because women are not programmed from birth to fight. Women are, I feel, taught to be ladylike and those kinds of things, and that fighting is for the boys, and therefore they develop a lot of fear of fighting, I think, because they haven't been doing it from an early age.
So you're in this position. And defend as well as try to get in. Yeah! Fast. Fast. Keep your eyes open. Get closer. Come back.
Move closer. Stay closer. Stand chin stance.
Extend chin. That's what this time. Chop, chop. Chop, chop, chop. You see? Okay.
I started the women's class because I realized a need in myself, that I needed to learn how to spar and fight, especially for tournament purposes, and that need was not really being addressed in the regular classes I was attending. Consequently, I figured that in order to improve myself, it would benefit me to teach a whole bunch of women together so that we could all pretty much increase our level of experience and all learn to fight. I feel it's useful to learn sparring because it does help one overcome certain fears. And it could be fear of fighting, it could be fear of pain, it could be fear of doing something in public, it could be any kind of fear. I just think it really helps to overcome those kinds of things.
In yourself, have you noticed?
That's hard to say. It's hard to say if I have overcome anything in myself or not, because I was always pretty confident as a kid. But I certainly have overcome, I would say, a fear of pain. I'm not scared to get hit anymore.
Were you before?
Probably I was. I think everyone is. You'd be stupid not to be.
Karate is important for me because it gives me good hard workouts, and it really changed a lot of things in my whole life. I always felt very uncomfortable about being in front of a big group or doing something with lots of people watching me. For example, in my old dojo when I was an orange belt, my instructor suddenly asked me to start the class and to take the warm-up, which was just 10-15 minutes. And I was ready to faint at that point. There were lots of higher belts, and although I've gone through the routine of the warm-up many, many times, as soon as I was up in front of the class, I felt like I couldn't think of a single warm-up exercise. But there was no way I could wimp out of that situation either. So I just had to get through it, and it worked. And now, a few years later, I have my own karate club, and I'm teaching classes from 20 to 30 people. Once I hit being a teenager, I always felt a little bit uncomfortable in my dance classes because I always was fairly short and stocky and strong, quite strongly built. Compared to all those other girls or women in those classes, I always felt I didn't really belong there, and I felt like I'm the odd one out. And in karate, I never felt like that because although there's a lot of grace involved in karate, it's also speed and power and strength you can show off.
Go!
I think that as you learn karate, you start out and you don't know anything, and then as you learn, you start filling your cup up, and it comes to a point where you reach black belt or whatever level, and before it seems like you hit a plateau, and before you can learn any more, I think you have to spill some of that out, and you do that by teaching, and then you can fill your cup back up. Continue.
Hapogeri.
Hapogeri.
Right, down block kiai.
Hey. Sir.
Right, punch, punch, kick, punch, turn.
Hey. Hey. Hey.
Extend your punches.
Hey. Hey.
Karate, it teaches a basic respect towards other people, towards the room that you're practicing in, towards the whole martial arts.
Hey.
Kiai.
One of the biggest things in the dojo, or the place of training, is respect. It seems like when you go in there, you're always bowing to something. You bow when you come in the door. You bow to each other. You kneel down and you bow after you do your meditation. And then you turn around, and if you have a partner, you bow to the partner.
Show me. Hey. Otogai ni. Hey. Hey. Okay.
My daughter was admitted to the kids class early. One of the reasons I brought her into the class was so that she could be with me and spend more time with me. And I find that that's really helped our relationship.
Focus. Hey. Good stance. Okay. Hey. Knee kiai.
Sit.
One more.
Sit.
I usually work with her on KATA, which is a series of movements against an imaginary opponent to practice your blocks and your punches and your basic defenses.
Hey. Punch straight. Hey. Down block. Hey. Punching stomach. Hey. Hey. Kiai. Sit. Turning left. Left hand up. Hey.
If she watches me do the kata first, then she's able to imitate really well.
Hey.
And I think it's kind of funny that, like, some kids would say, yeah, I want to be big and strong like my dad. Well, she can say, I want to be big and strong like my mom.
I don't really think that size has anything to do with karate and your performance in karate, because there are many different things involved: speed and strength and flexibility. So actual body size is just one part of it, and it is rather a question of how well you move your body. I've seen some tiny girls doing karate, and they had the focus and the technique so that their movements and everything was as powerful as big guys.
Okay, this side stepping back. Maigi, Oizuki, other side moving back. Yakusuki. Okay.
Personally, I've had my problems with fighting, and I still have. I'm getting into it a little bit more now. But for the longest time, I always was afraid of fighting. I think it's very important that you try to overcome things like fear. And that's one of the things why karate is so nice, that you try to push yourself to your limits and that you overcome things that you lack.
I enjoy sparring for a variety of reasons. And I guess the biggest and greatest is that you're working with an opponent, generally who you trust, because you're in the dojo and you trust that individual. And it becomes, in a sense, like a game. And it requires a lot of skill and concentration, which I enjoy very much. And you're trying to outwit your opponent. I've had a lot of sports background, and I like contact sports, and sparring is sort of, you're having a given relationship with that individual, but as you're sparring, it's more intimate. So you have to bait your opponent, and you have to take that individual's timing such that if they go to move, you'll sort of move with them in sync, and then you'll try and sort of outwit their next move, as it were.
I don't think that karate training influences the way people perceive me, but if for some reason the person finds out that I'm a black belt or something of that nature, then they do react in certain different ways. When I say people, I would specifically mean men in this case. One reaction is, haha, that's a joke, very funny. And the other one is, oh, I'm going to keep away from you because you might hit me. And both of those are very facetious kinds of responses. And women, on the other hand, tend to react to me with a little bit more interest or respectful kind of attitude rather than a joking attitude.
Hey, Jordan! Hey. Jumping jacks. Begin.
Karate, unlike what might often be depicted to the public through the media, is not a violent art. It really promotes peace. The true karate person, because they are so fully confident that they can defend themselves in a potentially violent situation, would not invite it but would diffuse it. They know they can look after themselves. So the true karate person would offer peace.